It's the kind of news that shakes fans to their core, the kind that reminds us that even legends, no matter how timeless they seem, are still human. The world knows him as the drummer of the Beatles, the man whose steady rhythm held together the greatest band in history. But now, after decades of fame, laughter, and love, Ringo Starr is facing heartbreaking news that has fans everywhere deeply emotional. As the last surviving Beatle alongside Paul McCartney, Ringo has carried the weight of history on his shoulders, but in recent years, his story has taken a bittersweet turn that no one could have expected. Ringo Starr, born Richard Starkey on July 7, 1940, in Liverpool, England, was never supposed to be famous. Growing up in poverty, he spent much of his childhood in and out of hospitals due to chronic illness. As a young boy, he contracted peritonitis and later tuberculosis, spending years confined to hospital beds while other children played outside. It was during those lonely, bedridden days that he discovered something that would change his life forever: the drums. Nurses would give him makeshift instruments to keep his spirits up, and young Richard found rhythm in everything, from the tapping of his fingers to the beat of his own heart. When he finally recovered, he returned to a world that had moved on without him. He was behind in school and had little hope for a traditional career. But Ringo had something special, an unshakable optimism and a deep love of music. By his late teens, he joined local Liverpool bands, eventually becoming the drummer for a group called Rory Storm and the Hurricanes. They were popular in the Liverpool club scene, especially at the famous Cavern Club, and it was there that fate intervened. In 1962, when the Beatles were just beginning to make waves, their drummer Pete Best was suddenly let go. The band needed someone reliable, skilled, and full of charisma, and Ringo Starr fit the bill perfectly. It was a decision that would change his life forever. Ringo joined John Lennon, Paul McCartney, and George Harrison, and together they became the most influential band the world has ever known. For the next 8 years, the Beatles ruled the world. Ringo wasn't just the drummer, he was the heart of the band, the glue that kept the egos and chaos in balance. While Lennon and McCartney wrote the hits and Harrison explored spiritual depth, Ringo brought humor, warmth, and humanity. Fans loved him not just for his music, but for his down-to-earth personality. His charm and humility made him relatable. Songs like "With a Little Help from My Friends" captured his essence perfectly. A man who understood the value of kindness, loyalty, and love. But behind the fame, life was not always easy. Ringo struggled with the intense pressure that came with being a Beatle. The endless touring, the screaming fans, and the constant scrutiny took a toll on all 4 members. When the band finally broke up in 1970, Ringo was left adrift, trying to find his place in a world that had changed overnight. The years that followed were full of ups and downs. Ringo embarked on a solo career that many initially underestimated, but he surprised everyone with a string of hits like "It Don't Come Easy," "Photograph," and "You're 16. These songs proved that he wasn't just the drummer, he was a talented singer, songwriter, and entertainer in his own right. Yet even with success, Ringo faced inner battles. The sudden loss of his brothers in music, John Lennon in 1980 and George Harrison in 2001, left deep scars. Losing John to a senseless act of violence devastated him, and when George succumbed to cancer, it was another heartbreak he would carry forever. Over the years, Ringo remained close to Paul McCartney, and the two shared a bond that only lifelong brothers could understand. They often spoke about their early days in Liverpool, the magic of their youth, and the bittersweet reality of being the last 2 Beatles left. But now, as Ringo approaches his mid-80s, the world has been shaken by heartbreaking news about his health and personal struggles. In recent interviews and appearances, fans have noticed that Ringo has slowed down significantly. The once hyper-energetic drummer, known for his cheerful personality and endless vitality, has been taking fewer public engagements. Reports have surfaced suggesting that age and health challenges are beginning to take their toll. Though Ringo has remained remarkably active, touring with his all-star band well into his 80s, the reality of time is finally catching up. In a heartbreaking revelation, those close to him have shared that he's been quietly dealing with age-related issues that have limited his ability to perform as freely as he once did. For Ringo, this isn't just about the physical challenges, it's emotional too. The loss of so many of his lifelong friends, combined with the loneliness that comes with outliving nearly all of his Beatles family, weighs heavily on him. Imagine being part of something that defined an entire generation, something that changed the world, and now being one of the only people left who remembers it firsthand. Every time he looks at old photographs, hears Beatles songs, or sees fans crying in nostalgia, he's reminded of the faces that are no longer here. John's wit, George's calm, and the magic they created together. Despite this, Ringo has continued to embody peace, love, and positivity, his lifelong motto. Even in the face of heartbreaking personal loss, he still signs off every message with those two words: peace and love. It's not just a catchphrase, it's his philosophy. But even the most optimistic souls feel the weight of time. Recently, fans were heartbroken to learn that Ringo has been contemplating stepping away from touring altogether. A decision that, if made official, would mark the end of an era in rock history. For decades, Ringo's all-star band has been a celebration of classic rock, featuring rotating members from famous groups across the decades. It was his way of keeping music alive, staying connected to fans, and celebrating what he loves most: performing. But as he edges closer to his mid-80s, the grueling pace of life on the road is becoming harder to sustain. Friends say he's been reflecting deeply on his legacy, his life, and what truly matters in his remaining years. The most heartbreaking part of this story isn't just the slowing down of a legend, it's the realization that the world is witnessing the twilight of an era. Ringo Starr isn't just another musician, he's one of the last living links to the Beatles, the band that redefined culture, music, and youth itself. His passing years remind us that time is catching up with even the most timeless figures. Ringo himself has spoken candidly about mortality. He said that he feels blessed to have lived such a long and full life, one filled with laughter, music, and love. But he also admits that saying goodbye to friends, to bandmates, and eventually to the stage is never easy. Fans around the world have expressed their love and concern, flooding social media with messages of support, prayers, and gratitude. Many say that just knowing Ringo is still here gives them comfort, a living reminder of a magical time when music truly changed the world. What makes this moment so emotional is how Ringo continues to handle it all, with grace, humor, and that same warm smile that's lit up faces for over 60 years. Even as he faces health challenges, he hasn't lost his sense of gratitude. In interviews, he often says how lucky he feels. Lucky to have found music, lucky to have been part of the Beatles, and lucky to still be here sharing peace and love with the world. The heartbreak, though, isn't just in the slowing down, it's in the memories. For Ringo, every performance, every fan interaction, every Beatles anniversary is a reminder of those who are gone. He's carried that emotional weight with incredible strength, but even legends have moments of quiet sadness. And now, as he faces the final chapters of his extraordinary life, fans can't help but feel a lump in their throats. Ringo Starr has given the world so much, not just through his drumming, but through his spirit. He taught generations that being kind, humble, and joyful is just as important as being talented. His life has been a symbol of resilience, from the sick child in Liverpool who dreamed of music, to the global icon who became part of something greater than anyone could have imagined. So yes, the news surrounding Ringo today is heartbreaking. The slowing down, the health concerns, the quiet reality that time is passing. But there's also something beautiful in it, because even as his rhythm softens, his legacy continues to beat strong in the hearts of millions. Every drum hit in a Beatles song, every fan who still hums "With a Little Help from My Friends" keeps his spirit alive. And perhaps that's what Ringo would want most. Not sorrow, but gratitude. Gratitude for the music, the memories, and the message he's carried all his life. Peace and love. So while the world holds its breath and sends its prayers to one of the last great Beatles, maybe the best way to honor him is to live by those same words, to choose kindness, to share love, and to remember that legends like Ringo Starr never truly leave us. Their rhythm plays on, forever.